Hey, great to see you. Thanks for all the questions last week. We've got a bunch of them, but I have to start off with my dad's. Dad asks, how do you best use light to your advantage? There's lots of ways that you can use light, and I'm going to show you using Jeremy as a model. Probably the best way to describe it is you can use light to sculpt and shape the face or the subject. So we've got Jeremy standing in front of the window. Let's have a look at how we can use this natural light coming through. So we've got the light coming through, sculpting his face. We've got a brighter side and a shadow side, turning him into three-dimensional. Now what happens if we turn him around and face the windows? Let's have a look. So now Jeremy's facing the window and you can see the light is very flat on his face. He doesn't have much dimension and he's looking more like a two-dimensional object rather than a three-dimensional object. When we ask Jeremy to move forward, let's have a look to see what happens to the light on his face. I've moved the camera out the front. Jeremy stayed in the same space. Okay, Jeremy, come forward slowly. Now watch the light. Look at it pick up. It's much, much brighter, so I'm going to have to do a little camera adjustment. There we go, perfect exposure. Can I ask Jeremy to walk a little bit further forward? Watch the light on his face as he does. Have a look at lift. It's much more dynamic than it was before. We have the three stages. Effectively no light, a first lift, and now the second lift. He's right at the edge of the building. So we can see Jeremy out the front. If he moves forward, not much is going to happen to the light on his face. He's going to stay pretty constant from here on. We've got a little bit of time, so I thought we'd jump into the studio and play around with the light. We've got one single light and we'll just use this. As you can see, the light is coming directly from Jeremy's right hand side, camera's left. And we have bright on one side, shadows on the other. This lighting style is called split lighting, where we have a line effectively straight down the middle of his face. One side's bright, one side's dark. So now if we get Jeremy to turn a little bit, we'll see Rembrandt lighting with an inverted triangle showing up on his left hand cheek. Then if we go around a little bit more, we'll see loop lighting where his nose turns into a loop. And then if he turns around to face the light, we have flat lighting again, very similar to what we had at the very beginning when he was facing the front window. Ta-da! Alright, go back to where you were, because then I'm going to throw in
a diffuser,
reflector. Yeah. Now we can see detail on the shadowed side where we couldn't see anything before. How much of a difference is that? It's fantastic. Now if we add a second light, pointing at the camera directly behind him, we'll have a rim of light around him, almost like a halo. Let's have a look. Ignoring the shadow of a light on the backdrop, we can see there's a nice rim of light around him, hence it's called rim lighting. We've got two studio lights here. They're pretty amazing. You can do exactly the same thing at home. You might not have studio lights, you might not have diffusers. You've definitely got bedside lights. You can use those. Let's talk about the quality of light. We have hard light and we have soft light. Currently we're using soft light. We have a diffuser on the light and we have a reflector. The diffused light is hitting Jeremy nice and softly on his face. The reflected light is bouncing back and it is also a diffused light. If we take the diffuser off of the light, we'll be able to have a hard light. Now we've got hard light coming in. Ignore me, I'm very, very bright, I know, I can see it. Model. Have a look at the shadow in the background. Have a look at the shadow here. We can see it defined. It's a hard edge, it's a hard light. The difference between them is we have a hard shadow or we have a soft shadow. This side we're having hard lighting. Reflection, it's still going to be reflected and still going to be soft. So if we look at his face carefully, closely, we'll see on the left hand side that he has a reflected light. So we have hard light on the right hand side and soft light on the left hand side. We can see a hard shadow here from the light, but then bouncing back we can see a soft undefined shadow here, a soft light. And this is exactly why lighting in the studio is so fantastic. We can modify it perfectly to what we need it to look like. So Dad, I hope that answers your questions. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Cheerio.